No one told us this about Bucerias before we came.
With just over 2.5 weeks under our belts, Bucerias has lived up to its expectations of beautiful beaches, hot weather, and a diverse and broad selection of bars and restaurants. However, there are nuances about this city that seemingly go unmentioned and are vital pieces of knowledge for anyone traveling to this area.
Imagine a beach that spans as far as the eye can see in either direction. Soft white sand underfoot, hot sun warming the body, and gentle waves that lap up on the shoreline, only to finish in a foamy retreat. The warm breeze carries the aroma of the sea, and the occasional whale can be spotted on the horizon, playfully breaching in the warm Pacific waters. This is winter in the Riviera Nayarit, and the reason that people flock from the north to escape the dark, cold winter. For us, that too was the reason we ended up in Bucerias for 4 weeks, straddling January and February. Bucerias was once considered a quaint, seaside Mexican village, but today it is anything but. Yes, there are still pockets that remind one of its humble beginnings, but it doesn't take long to realize that it is a town that is going through some major gentrification. Construction, and especially around the waterfront area, is everywhere. Some believe Bucerias is not far from losing its small town charm if it hasn't already. Some fear that it is only a matter of time that Bucerias becomes the tourist palooza that its neighbors Puerto and Nuevo Vallarta have become. The noise of construction can be heard just about everywhere, but especially along Avenida Lázaro Cárdenas in the extremely popular Zona Dorada, or translated, the Golden Zone. This area is home to numerous popular outdoor cafes and restaurants, and for years has been a must-visit when in Bucerias. Today, however, sharing a drink or a bite to eat and the peace and intimacy of the patios is frequently interrupted by the loud noise of construction vehicles rumbling by or the constant banging on the countless structures being erected. This noise not only impacts the residential and commercial properties along this route, but drifts as far as the beach side, sometimes drowning out the sound of the surf. The fallout of the construction has also meant significant congestion along Avenida Lázaro Cárdenas. One has to weave into the street to avoid sections of broken or sunken sidewalks and around crudely roped off construction zones. These streets are shared with vendors trying to earn a meager income, makeshift taco stands, construction vehicles, and drivers trying to deke around all of these perils, including potholes that seem big enough to engulf a small car. Anyone contemplating renting a short or long-term accommodation should be aware that it is extremely possible that they too will be impacted by the noise of construction, and it is recommended to do some research on this before committing to a final location. Bucerias is split in two by Highway 200, a federal highway over 2,000 kilometers long and making up the main leg of the Pacific Coast Highway in Mexico. It is highly recommended being on the south side of this highway or risk having to cross this stretch of road either on foot or by car.
This is one of the reasons that you want to be on the right side of the highway when you're in Bucerias, Mexico, because trying to get across this highway in a car is challenging enough. Now on foot, it's almost next to impossible, because even though they have these crosswalks here, today there are no crossing lights for pedestrians. So what you have to do to cross here as a pedestrian is you have to wait for a break in the traffic. You're going to have to run from that side to that median and make your way across two other medians. This takes not only patience, it takes a lot of courage and maybe a little bit of stupidity. Wanting to do this or needing to do this on a daily basis, because that is the only way to the beach by getting across the street, gives you a reason why you want to be on the other side of the highway.
Driving along this stretch of highway between Puerto Vallarta and Bucerias can almost be as harrowing as walking. There are two primary lanes on each side of the highway, heading east and west. In many areas, these lanes have no exit or entry options. As a result, it is entirely possible that you have to overshoot your destination and be forced to make a U-turn going back in the opposite direction to get to where you want to go. To complicate things further, there are lateral lanes that run parallel with the primary lanes. These lanes are used to exit onto calmer residential roads, into stores, into homes, etc. Finally, in some areas when turning left or performing a U-turn, one has to get all the way into the right lane. When the left arrow turns green, the right lane proceeds to turn left in front of the 2 lanes of stopped traffic on the same side, as well as the 2 oncoming lanes on the opposite side. Of course, there is also the concern over the polizia and being stopped for an alleged moving traffic violation. I had the not so pleasant experience of this happening to me. The details of this can be found in the link at the end of this video. Not unique to Bucerias, but sometimes as equally annoying are the countless vendors that tirelessly plod along this 5-mile hot stretch of beach, typically covered in some sort of sun protection from head to toe. One has to wonder how many of them can make a living when most are selling the same trinkets that can be found in every souvenir store. In many cases, this is a family affair, with the children presumably destined to carry on in their parents' footsteps. However, it is the children that are hard to say no to, and over the years, I think the parents have learned to know this. These kids often follow up the polite decline to their parents of "no gracias" with a squeaky plea of "señor," while holding out a small wrapped candy or handmade threaded bracelet. Some vendors have become quite adept at their sales skills, using their well-honed English and grasp of wit to attempt to make a sale.
A little silver chain like this, dinner one, simple, elegant, and cheap. Only $20. You need 2 deers and you're ready to buy later.
Yeah.
Nombre, Simon.
Simon.
Simon says, buy just for me.
Some have become inventive with how they display and promote their goods without having to say anything. Others simply have become inventive with what they are selling. Shrimp on a skewer with a dash of hot sauce, mango on a stick, fresh pastries, and countless other items. After spending a couple of weeks here, I have come to see many of the same faces and realize these are people working hard at trying to scrimp out an existence. And just like the children today, they too were brought up not knowing any other life than this. To understand this makes the frequent interruption that much more palatable.
Hi, my name is Brad Amlin of Amlin to Travel, and I'm in Bucerias, Mexico, about 30 minutes north of Puerto Vallarta on the Riviera Nayarit. Now, over the next 6 weeks, we'll be traveling through Mexico, and specifically the Riviera Nayarit. We're hoping to bring you tips, tricks, and travel adventures that we experience along the way. Now, if you like what you see, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button below, and you'll be made aware of future videos and when they post. But in the meantime, adios amigos y hasta luego.